If you've ever bought a planner that you really wanted to use, but you didn't end up using it, this video is for you. It's not a discipline problem. It's actually about choosing a planner that fits your life. In other words, it's not you. I focus on gentle planning that's realistic for women over 50 or for anyone whose energy is not guaranteed. Planning can support you. It does not have to stress you out or pressure you. The whole idea of planning is not to do more. It's more about reducing your mental load, remembering what matters, creating steadier days, and of course, supporting your nervous system. Your planner should work with you. We see all these beautiful planners and we pick out the one we like or the one we think we like. But are we really picking the planners for the right reasons? And are they the right planners for us? Do they have what we need? How can we pick one we know we're going to use? What is the function you need from your planner? That is very important. That's one of the major foundations of how you're going to choose your planner. What do you want your planner to do for you? What will you use your planner for? Will you use it for appointments and anything that's scheduled on a certain day or time? That's usually the first place, or birthdays and anniversaries. Between appointments and birthdays, those are usually the main focus points. After that, do you expect more from your planner? And what is it that you want? Do you want your planner to help you remember what matters? Do you want it to help create steadier days? Will you track any health or energy in your planner? People really benefit from tracking or taking notes on anything related to their health. And it's super helpful for when you go to the doctor. I know we always think we're going to remember every little thing, but we don't. And yet we still think we're going to, but we don't. Again, a lot of people do memory keeping in their planners. So maybe you're that type of person that likes to jot down special memories right on the day that it happened. And that way you have a record of it, it's on the day, and you won't forget. Projects. If you're working on any projects in your house or personal projects, planners are a fabulous way to pace yourself, to break down your project into small bite-sized pieces. Some people even use a planner designated just for that project and then break down the project within the planner. And I can show you how to do that. If you're interested, just let me know. It's also a place for things to land. If there's just something you want to remember, your planner is a good place, as long as it's part of your regular routine to check it. That is the caveat to successful planning. There must be a time to check in and reflect and to ask what's working, what's not working, what do I want to change for next year, and maybe even have a spot in your planner for next year. Remember, anything that you changed how you did it and you like it better, I would put that as a note in the back so that you can make those adjustments next year. Again, the big safety net is you must check in with your planner. And that's basically, it sounds so simple and easy, but honestly, I have had so many planners that I've started and didn't finish and wasn't successful with. And when I really sat and thought about what didn't work, a big part of it was me and my system. And there were holes in my system that I had to fix. A big part of that was checking in with my planner on a regular basis. To-do lists. If you are a to-do list person, they're a great place for to-do lists. Oopsies, my light just went out. Sorry about that. I had to plug my light in. So that would be the function of your planner. It's not a tool to get as much as you can done. This can actually be used to help pace you. Like I said before, to help regulate your nervous system, to break down your tasks and your projects into small pieces, to know when things are due or when there's a deadline, and then backtrack and back plan to make sure you're finished before that date. Most everything about it should feel good, or not should. Pick the one that makes you feel excited and motivated, because that's the one you're going to use. We're not going to use the one we don't like. Even if it's not set up exactly how we want it, if you love it, there's always ways to adapt it. And we're also going to talk about those on this channel. If you're interested in finding ways to adapt your planner to fit your needs as a woman over 50 who is not in a race to get as much as you can done, but you want to pace yourself to feel good and not under pressure, getting as much as you can done. If you want to plan in a way that feels soothing and calming and allows you to feel confident because you are getting your things done. You sent the birthday card, you sent the birthday gift, you ordered the birthday cake, all because you had those dates in your planner. And you made yourself a note a week before you needed the cake to call the bakery. Step 2 is the form of the planner. Also very important besides function, the form. How do you naturally plan? You might not know. This might be your first planner, right? This is where you want to think about weekly layouts, or do you prefer monthly layouts? This would be a weekly overview. So you have your days of the week. It's on a 2-page spread in here. Calibri is the name of this one. Really nice paper quality. See, that's important to me when I pick a planner. I like how this paper feels a lot, and that's part of using a planner. It has to feel good, and this paper is incredible, and it definitely passes that test with flying colors. So the weekly layout will usually give you all the days of the week. Unless it's a teacher planner, it might just have 5. But this one has all 7 days, and these are horizontal boxes for the week, for each day. Some helpful details if you want them. You can keep track of your water intake for hydration is there. And then there's 5 check boxes each day. So if you want to put anything there, some people prefer this type of layout. If this gives you enough room for what you want to keep track of in your planner, then this would be a weekly planner. If you need more room, you might want to go with, if you're going to stick with one planner, a daily planner, because that will give you usually a whole page per day. These are great when you don't need to track a ton. You can have weekly spreads in your book. You can have daily pages and weekly spreads. You can get just daily. You could get a notebook and put whatever the heck you want in it and make that your planner. It doesn't have to be in an official planner. The size of the planner, do you want to, or do you need to be able to take it with you? Or is your planner going to live at home? Are you someone that's home all the time? So your planner might just stay home. Are you going to take it to the doctor when you have an appointment? Or are you going to take a little book and then transfer your information? So these are all things that are good to think about before you choose your planner, right? The paper in your planner. This is important if you want to use markers that might be permanent or oil-based, because they're going to bleed on a lot of paper. But there are planners that have thicker or heavier paper counts. And so that would be a better planner for you. I know one thing I love about my planner, it has to lay flat when I open it and I'm looking at a double spread. So spirals, of course, work. But if I get a bound planner, it has to be stitched in a way that it lays flat. Most of them are doing that now, but for planning purposes, it's much nicer when it lays flat. And for reading too, I like that for all my books. There's also, like I mentioned before, the feel of the paper. Higher count paper, there's some really nice, smooth papers that feel like silk when your hand hits the paper as you're writing. And it just makes it a really nice experience. As long as it's not too smooth, because then it usually takes a really long time for your ink to dry. But smooth paper, to me, has always been my preference, with just a little bit of tooth for the ink to grab onto. So if that matters to you, then that's something you want to look for. Another thing to think about. There's a lot to think about. Do you need lines to write on? That is something to look for. And do you want lines or do you want graph paper, which is what I prefer, and then there's dot grid. So it's blank or lines, graph or dot grid. A lot of the planners have a combo. You want to make sure where you know you're going to be writing, is it what you need there? Some of these details that you might look for. You might find a planner you love and it might not have all the things that you would prefer. But like I said, there are ways to make it your own. If it has most of what you love, it's not hard to white out the title of a section that's pre-named, to white out the name and write a different name or put a label. So don't let that stop you. If there's a planner you love, you can change it a little bit. But things like graph paper or dot grid or plain, I mean, unless you want to draw your own lines all the time, everywhere, it's a good idea to pick the planner that has your paper. That's harder. That's not something you're going to want to adapt, like whiting out a title. You know what I mean? So this is the last part that I am suggesting that you think about before you pick a planner. I keep saying before you pick a planner. I know a lot of you have picked your planner because it's January. I myself am not that far along. I just haven't had a chance to do that yet. So I also know a lot of people that did pick out their planner that are now ready to switch because they tried a new one or something they've been wanting to try and it wasn't what they thought. So this is great for you, or it's great if you have not picked out your planner yet, or if you need a second planner. This third area are your non-negotiables. Does the planner open and close easily? Is it a complicated system? Because if it is, that's going to get annoying. You need simple, quick, open your book, see what you have. That is a tool that you purchase to help you. Your planner works for you. Make sure there's enough space. If you write big, I write big. So I don't like anything with college ruled lines. Make sure there's enough space for your writing. If you know you like to write a lot, you definitely want to find a planner that has a lot of space for you to write. A planner that supports your energy and does not feel like it's pressuring you. Like I said, you can white out things, so you can adapt your book so that it's not as overwhelming. But I would try to pick a planner that is mostly what you're looking for. And it should really feel calm to you, your planner. Not busyness, not critical. It's nice if you sort of build a positive ritual, like get a nice cup of a hot drink, some music if you like to listen to music, or if you like quiet, just have it nice and quiet. Get nice and comfy and cozy, and the pens that you want to use, and make it a really enjoyable time for you and your planner. If this video helped you in any way whatsoever, please let me know in the comments. I would love to hear what tips you liked or what you think you're going to use, what tips you might use. I would also love to hear any tips that you have for picking a planner. Please feel free to share it in the comments. I hope you found this helpful. Thank you so much for hanging out with me, and I'll see you in the next one. Take good care.